Hey guys, Yulia here. So today I'm going to plant mountain laurel or Kalmia latifolia, and I have 3 of them. But before I start digging, I want to talk about this wonderful plant. So mountain laurels are hardy from zone 5 through 9, although I heard in some accounts that they are as hardy as zone 4, but definitely safe to plant in zone 5. This is an eastern native broadleaf evergreen that has the most exquisite flowers. And as for the sun exposure, they prefer to be in part shade, but from my experience, they're pretty flexible. I have an older mountain laurel in front of our house. It receives pretty much full sun and it does great. And at the same time, I've seen some mountain laurels growing just wild in the woods in an understory of pretty big trees. In general, the more northern your climate is, the more sun they would appreciate. You can go almost full sun, but if you live more in a southern location, they will definitely benefit from more shade. So this is where I will be planting them. And this is a variety that is called Carol. And they get to about 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide. They could be even a little bit larger. But the thing is that this is not the fastest growing plant. So before they get to any substantial size, it will be quite a while. But ultimately, I would like to keep them at about a window height right here. So like 5.5 feet or so, and maybe peeking into these windows because this is my office and where I spend a lot of time. And these plants are easily controlled by pruning. And if you want to prune your mountain laurel, you should do that right after it blooms in the spring, because these plants bloom on old wood. So you don't want to cut those flowers if you prune them at any other time of the year. So I spaced these about 5 feet on center. I think it's going to be a beautiful and full look, but you don't want to overcrowd your mountain laurels because they can get leaf spot, which is a disease that creates these little spots on the leaves. If you see something like that on your mountain laurel, make sure that you collect all of the fallen leaves and discard them. And you can also prune it to improve air circulation between the plants. I'm going to dig a hole a little bit wider than the pot. You don't have to dig a deep hole for mountain laurel. In fact, you should plant it a little bit higher than your grade level because they don't like to sit in standing water and they really like good drainage. A little too low, so I'm going to add some soil. So I really want the root ball to be higher than the grade because they prefer better drainage, plus this plant will settle. I think this is perfect. I don't like to tease roots on the Ericaceae family too much because they're so thin. One more thing I wanted to mention is that you don't have to use the mycorrhizal inoculant that you can use on other plants, because this is an Ericaceae family plant. They need their own mycorrhizae. If you can't find that one, that's okay. And if you use the regular one, you're not going to hurt the plant. It's just not going to be beneficial. As for the watering, I will water these plants a couple of times a week if it doesn't rain. And it's especially important to water them well before they go into winter, because you want them to be well hydrated so they don't desiccate. Another tip is not to water overhead like this, because that can cause a leaf spot as well. A couple more things about these beautiful plants. First of all, they prefer acidic soil. And here in New Jersey, our pH level is perfect for them. They are native plant to us after all. But I will fertilize these with Hollytone. They definitely prefer acidic fertilizer. As for the deer resistance, they are pretty deer tolerant, although I have heard of some people whose Mount Laurels were severely damaged by deer. Mine is not touched by deer, and we have a pretty bad deer pressure in front of our house. And these plants are toxic, like many other plants that we grow in our gardens. But if you have curious kids or animals that like to taste plants, which is unusual because these just don't taste that good, I would not plant something like this. And there are so many different cultivars available right now in the market of this beautiful plant, from a dwarf like an elf to straight species that grow to about 12 to 15 feet tall. But if you have acidic soil and just the right sun exposure, I think you should definitely try to plant these plants. I am planting them at all of my projects, and so far in the last 3 years, they all took. Some people report that they have trouble establishing these plants, but I think if you plant them correctly, if you give them a little bit of fertilizer, and if you water them well during establishment, you will have good luck with them. Anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.